Welcome back. In this final video over SoftBodies, we're going to go ahead and do an example scene here of a bouncing ball animation. I'm going to show you how you can use animation with SoftBodies so you don't have to depend on gravity forces to make the SoftBodies work, because we can actually use SoftBodies without any forces at all. And I'll show you that in this video. So I'll hit F12 to go ahead and maximize this camera viewport here, and we're going to need something to represent a floor. So let's go to Primitive, Polygon Mesh. We'll select a cube, close that. You'll notice that I'm not using grids or any type of plane to create a floor. I'm using scaled down cubes to do that. With simulation, in most software, including XSI, it's never really a good idea to use very thin objects, as they can cause errors with simulation calculations. It's always good to use a cube or something like this that's flattened down, that has some volume to it, some thickness to it. Just helps the simulation system figure it out better and more accurately. So I'm going to switch from wireframe to shaded mode here, and I'm going to turn on wireframe on shaded again to make things easier to see for you. Okay, so there's our floor. Let's go to Primitive, Polygon Mesh, and create ourselves a sphere. And I'm going to increase the subdivisions up to 24 and 24. Move the sphere up, and I'm going to scale it down a little bit like so. I'm going to move it over here to this end of the table over here like this, so it's at this end. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate this ball, just falling, bouncing here, going up, and then taking maybe another bounce, and then finally bouncing over here, and maybe rolling over to the end of the table or something like that. Alright, so I'll take this sphere, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of animation here. So I'll hit V on the keyboard to activate the move tool, and now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and hit K on the keyboard to set a keyframe there. You can do the same thing by hitting this big key icon over here in the lower interface where the animation controls are. Okay, and you can see in the timeline a keyframe was placed right there. What I'll do now is I'll move ahead maybe 20 frames in the animation, and I'll move this sphere and place it down here. Now I want to place it so that it penetrates the floor object just a little bit, like so. That's going to represent the ball flattening into the floor a little bit, because it's supposed to be a rubber ball. And I'll hit K to go ahead and keyframe it right there as well. Then I'll move the sphere forward like so, and maybe move it up a little bit like this, not too high. And then I'll move my timeline with the middle mouse button to about frame 40 to create that green tick right there, and then I'll hit K to keyframe that. And then what I'll do is I'll move my slider over here maybe to frame, I don't know, maybe frame 60, and then I'll move this object forward a little bit, maybe down like this, and maybe a little bit penetrating into the floor right there. Now with the move tool, I'll just hit K on the keyboard to go ahead and keyframe again, and then I'll just move this ball this way like so. With the middle mouse button, I'll go to frame 80 here, and I'll keyframe again. Alright, there we go. Let's go back to the beginning of the animation, and let's scrub with our time slider here. We can see how this rubber ball bounces around and whatnot. Okay. Alright, we don't have any gravity in this scene. We're animating everything by hand. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this sphere, and I'm going to hit O on the keyboard, or 0 on the keyboard to open up the animation curve editor. I'll just move this up like so. So here we have several function curves, or F curves, which represent the actual animation and movement of the sphere. What I'm interested in here is when the sphere hits the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and select position X, position Y, and position Z over here. Okay, and you can see the keyframes here in the timeline, and if I hit A on my keyboard while I'm hovering over this, it'll frame in on everything, which it is right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these keyframes here at frame 20. That's when it makes impact with the ground. And I'm going to come up here to the curves menu, And I'm going to go ahead and select linear interpolation, just so that it hits the ground and just bounces right off and doesn't sway. See that? So it goes down, bounces off, and just continues going. And on the second one over here, the second bounce, which is frame 60, I'll select those keyframes, and I'll go back to curves and select linear interpolation again. So now the ball just hits the ground and that's it. Okay, perfect. Now what I'll also do is I'll add some rotation to this sphere as it bounces around. So I'll activate the rotate tool using C on the keyboard to do that. And I'll go ahead and drop a keyframe right here at frame 1. And I'm going to go ahead and at frame 20, I'm just going to do like a maybe just a random rotation here. I'm just going to rotate this guy around and hit K again. So now if you look carefully, you'll see that if you go frame by frame, the sphere is rotating as it moves around or whatnot. All right. I'm going to go down here and select all of these rotation channels, the rotate X, rotate Y, and rotate Z. And with those curves selected, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to curves here, and I'm going to go to cycle. Hold on. Okay, edit that rotation stuff out of the video. Edit the rotation stuff out of the video. Starting again in 3, 2, 1. Alright, let me go ahead and close this animation editor there. Now we can see when we go ahead and we move across our timeline here, the ball's just going to go and move around and just bounce around or whatnot. Okay. So what I want now is, the thing I'm trying to focus on here is the flattening of the ball when it hits the ground. So I can see at frame 20, that ball is hitting the ground, but it's not acting realistically. It's not squashing or anything. So this is where the SoftBodies comes and it helps us do that. I'll select the sphere, and I'll go to the Create menu, go to SoftBody, and Create from Selection. That's processing everything. Just takes a moment. Okay, the SoftBody op opened up as well. In the presets, I'm going to go ahead and choose rubber ball. Now I can close this. Don't really need it anymore. Okay. Now it's a soft body, but the problem is that it's not going to behave properly. That's because we don't have an obstacle for this. So let's go ahead and create an obstacle. With the sphere selected, the ball, we'll go to the Modify menu, go to Environment, select Set Obstacle, and then we'll select the floor. Then right-click to end that, and there we go. Now if I hit play, you'll notice that the sphere stays in place and is not respecting my animation. What I need to do is select the sphere, go to the selection button over here in the MCP, and open up the SoftBody op. I'll go to Dynamics. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select Use Body Animation. Now let's go ahead and let's play the animation. And you can see it, nothing happens. So let's go back to Home. I'm going to unselect Use Body Animation. I'm going to select Inherit Initial Inertia and then select Use Body Animation. I also want to make sure that Solid Body Center is turned on. Okay, so now we'll do is we'll play the animation. Now the object is going to respect the animation that I went ahead and created. So let me close that PPG. Let me go to frame 20. I'm going to zoom in on the object, and now you can see that the object is no longer going through the floor. It's respecting my animation, and it's respecting my simulation. So there it goes. It bounces, does its thing with the rubber ball preset. We'll just hit play, and it's coming for the second bounce on frame 60, and there you go. There you can see it. It's flattening out again. Okay? And then it's going to continue to remain flat as long as it slides on that ground, as you can see. If I go one frame at a time by using the right arrow key on the keyboard, you can see that it's remaining flat because the object is pushed up against the floor because I animated it that way. So it's pretty neat how you can combine animation with soft bodies. So if you don't want to use gravity or anything like that, and you want to animate something smacking up against a wall or smashing down towards a floor, you can combine soft bodies with your animation to go ahead and just complement your animation with the realistic dynamic effects of soft bodies. So this is how you can combine animation with soft bodies. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and thanks a lot for supporting i3 tutorials. We thank you for watching and supporting, and we hope you enjoyed the tutorials and learned a lot from it, and really got learning dynamics here. We really did cover a lot in this tutorial, and we covered rigid bodies and soft bodies and some examples. It was a lot of fun creating this tutorial. I hope it was as much fun for you watching it and following along as it was to create it. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Join us at our forums. Let us know what you think about the tutorials, or if you have any suggestions for future tutorials that you'd like to see. We'll be more than happy to have an open ear to that. So thanks a lot for watching, and take care. Have fun with XSI.